Hey guys, Brian from Zombie Guitar here. Before I get into this lesson, I just wanted to say that if I happen to move too quickly with any of this stuff, I'm going to talk about this kind of quick because this is all stuff I've talked about before. Always look in the description below to see relevant lessons, okay? So relevant lessons that go more in depth into this mode stuff can be found below. Also, I have within the members area of my website, which is the Lead Guitar Members Vault, I have thousands and thousands of practice videos that allows you to practice playing in different modes using these different, targeting chord tones within the different modal frameworks and whatnot. Lots of demo videos for all that. Check that out as well. So basically the main point I want to get across in this lesson is that you can take a set of 7 notes, okay, from any of the 12 possible major scales. So you have 12 possible major scales, 12 possible keys in music. Each major scale has its own set of 7 notes. Okay, so in this example, in this lesson, we're doing the key of G major. The key of G major has 7 notes: G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp. So if you take those 7 notes, you have 7 possible modes that can be played. And you have 7 possible diatonic chords. Okay, so each major key has 7 notes. Therefore, there's 7 possible diatonic chords that can be created, and then you have 7 possible modes. All right. So 1 always stands for Ionian, 2 stands for Dorian, 3 stands for Phrygian, 4 Lydian, 5 Mixolydian, 6 Aeolian, 7 Locrian. All right. So the scale pattern that I was using was just right up here in between this 12th and 15th fret here. Okay. So those are those 7 notes: G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. All right. But depending on which note I started on and then walked through the scale and then landed on that same note an octave higher, that's how you get these modes. So starting and ending on G within this pattern, I have G. Okay, so that's G Ionian or G major. I can do 2 octaves as well if I want. Okay, so that's my G major scale right there, G Ionian. If I start on A, move through the scale pattern until I get to the next A, that's the A Dorian mode. Okay, so that's A Dorian. I was going from A to A. If I go from B to B using the scale pattern, I have B Phrygian. Okay, same thing. C to C is C Lydian. Okay, so that's how the modes are all relative to one another. They're the same exact set of notes. It just depends on which note you start on and then end on. That's how you get your scale. Musically, okay, it's not actually, it's all one and the same thing until you put a chord progression behind it. So that's the whole point of the demo in the beginning, okay? So basically, if you take a look at your diatonic chords within the key of G major, you can always find your 6 of the 7 on the circle of fifths. The 3 major and 3 minor found in any key are grouped together in the circle of fifths like so. So your G major is your 1 chord, A minor is your 2 chord, B minor is your 3 chord, C major is 4, D major is 5, E minor is 6, F sharp is the diminished or the half diminished chord, which is your 7, which doesn't fall into this grouping of 6. You take any one of those chords and you make that to be your tonal center, make that to be your rhythm section, and then solo over top of it using the available 7 notes, G, A, B, C, D, E, and F sharp, and that's how you get your mode, okay? So it requires a rhythm section, all right? And, you don't have to just limit yourself to just 1 chord for a modal chord progression. You can have 2 chords, or sometimes even 3. I talk more about modal chord progressions in the lesson that I linked you to below. But just keep in mind, the more chords that you put into a progression, the less likely it is to be modal. Modal chord progressions are usually confined to just 1, 2, maybe 3 chords, all right? So I was just doing 2 chord progressions, making my tonal center to be either the G for the Ionian mode example, the A minor for the A Dorian mode example, the B minor for the, you know what I mean? So I was just doing 2 chord progressions and making my tonal center be one of the 7 possible chords, soloing over top of it with that available 7 notes, just using this limited little area of the fretboard. Although I could have used the whole fretboard if I wanted to, but I just wanted to get the point across in one small area. And that's how these modes come about, okay? So you have 7 available notes from a major scale. You have 7 available diatonic chords that come from that particular key, and you have 7 available modes, okay? And it's all determined by what the rhythm section is doing and what your tonal center is. Okay, and the last thing that I want to say is, as you're soloing over, if it's just 1 chord or 2 chords or 3 chords or whatever the chords you happen to be soloing over, no matter what mode it is that you're playing, the best sounding notes within the scale are always going to be the underlying chord tones, okay? So right here within this little framework that I was sticking in, the G major chord tones are here. Okay, so this is G, B, and D. These are the notes G, B, and D within this framework, okay? The notes of the A minor chord are here, okay? A, C, and E. The green dots are A's, C's, and E's. The notes of the B minor chord are here. The notes of the C major chord, D major chord, E minor chord, and then the F sharp diminished triad. I didn't have the sevenths, but you can see that those are the target notes that you're going to hit within the scalar framework as the chords are occurring, okay? So in my demos that I was doing in the beginning, I was kind of noodling around, but you may have noticed that certain notes just seem to work better than others. Usually those are chord tones, okay? So I try to hit chord tones whenever possible. And again, that's the whole idea of my lead guitar improv members vault thing. I have thousands and thousands of practice videos where you play in these various different modal frameworks and the chord tones light up on the screen, so you can practice playing around in these scales and then practice targeting the correct notes, the chord tones, okay? So check all that out or whatever. But, so yeah, you have 7 available notes, 7 available diatonic chords, 7 available modes. The rhythm section dictates the modes, or the mode that is being played. Your available framework is what it is, but the best sounding notes within the framework are always going to be the chord tones of whatever the chord happens to be within the rhythm section. Alright? So, I guess I try to get this point across in the most efficient way possible. Instead of making a 35-minute long video like I did for my introduction to modes video, which if you want to check that out, I also posted a link to that below. Okay, so lots of stuff about modes. This is yet another video on modes. Hope you guys liked it. I'll see you next time.